It's a divine appointment. People, go find people who are thinking the way you want to think, living the way you want to live, and being the way you want to be. Yeah. Be proactive about changing your world. Don't sit around and wait for them to come to you. Meet in the middle.
Right.
They are out there. Right.
Yes,
have you ever been like in a seminar or some big group? Let's say there's a lot of people in it, right? And you have a question and you don't want to ask it. Like you're afraid to ask it, right?
That's a taste of storming the gates of your mind, going rogue. This week's episode of The Wise Guys, a podcast that unleashes the unthinkable in culture, religion, and everyday life. In this conversation, the guys suggest a New Year's mantra for 2025 of opening your mind to greater things. So, it's time to step over the line, strap in, and see if you are willing to let Mac, the Rev, and Coach Stu take you to a place of thinking differently.
Okay, welcome to the Wise Guys, a podcast where we unleash the unthinkable and step over the line to help us see things differently and go to the inside edge to stimulate new thinking. We're all about new thinking. So hi, I'm Mac. I'm your host. And in this episode, we're going to elaborate a little bit on our little MI5 thing that we do at the end of all of our episodes. And we're going to just dig right into each one of them. I think you're going to really have a lot of fun with it. I mean, we had fun putting it together and just bantering it around back and forth. But we love the way that these, I'm going to call them directives, that we play around with, fit into using wise guy wisdom, to make a difference, man. That's what we're doing here. So I got my wise guys. As always, Stu's in the house.
Hey,
Coach Stu.
Matt, good to see you.
All right, brother.
And there's the Rev over there.
I'm here. I'm ready to go, man. I look forward to my nights with you guys.
He's born ready, man.
I do too.
He's all good.
This is my favorite part of the week.
This is good.
Hey, let me say hello to all you beautiful exotic cocktails out there.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hey, check this out. I have some news for you.
Yes,
for you guys. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I was pleasantly surprised and a little bit shocked to hear this. We are now being listened to, meaning the Wise Guys podcast, in 21 different countries.
Oh, I love that, man. I love it.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, you know what?
I often wonder how they found us, and I kind of don't care, but I kind of do, because I just think it's cool that they're listening. So hello to everybody out there,
wherever you may be. We want to know how you found us
globally. Yeah, it's very cool. Good job, guys, because we're doing something right? All right, so we're going to just jump in today. And hey, guys, guess what?
What's that? Are you going to seeing differently glasses?
That's right.
Today?
We're talking about seeing differently. Are we not?
Yes.
Superfly.
Okay, here it is. So if you're watching the video.
He's the Terminator.
Okay.
Ooh, these are very cool.
There it is.
I love it.
I'm really stylish tonight. I'm wearing my seeing differently glasses. So everybody out there, if you're watching our video, you will see them. We may start offering these, right?
Yeah, we should.
Put our logo on them.
That would be really cool.
Be kind of cool with it. I think I'm going to put this over here. So let's go. How about this? Little words to the wise tonight, gents. What do you think about this? Okay. And I think you're right. I pulled this from a Lenny Sweet book, but I don't even think it was his quote. I think he quoted somebody else. But here's the scoop. I thought this was a very poignant little saying. Our guardian angels are bored. Think about that.
Can you imagine?
Right? Just think about that for a second. If it's true.
Well, I think they're a lot more bored than they used to be. Mine are a lot more bored. It's like, when did you quit risking? When did you quit taking chances? Come on, go out on a limb a little bit.
Yes. Okay.
Clarence Oddbody wasn't bored in It's a Wonderful Life.
True. That's right.
He was not bored at all.
Okay. Well, you got to step it up, gang. Let's make them earn their money or whatever. They've been tasked with, again, whether you believe this whole thing or not, it's the point is, like Rev says, put it in gear.
You're to me, when I hear this, you're basically living too safely. Right. Like you're failing to engage in actions where you would need deep trust in God, which would challenge you to grow, spiritually, right? If you did that. So that's to me what it what it all means.
So that's the gauntlet that we're throwing down tonight.
Yeah,
You
it
let
is.
every word that we share tonight be a challenge. Throw the gauntlet down and say, live more fully, live more, love more wastefully, be more you.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? If you got to have a little somebody watching your back, you need a guardian angel watching your back, then good for you. Okay, you know you're doing something right. Exactly.
That's
So think about that for a gang. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I like it.
To talk about that. So we're going to press into this, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
MI5, your ongoing mission, should you choose to accept it. And I thought it was interesting. You know, we say that every week. And I think there's a couple of really important words in that statement. First of all, ongoing, right? It's not just a one-timer. It's a lifestyle.
Not a destination, huh?
No, sorry. It's next week and the next week and the next week, right? So it's a journey. Should you choose to accept it?
Choice, the most powerful word on the planet.
That's it. I mean, you're gonna have to choose to do this work. And we talk about doing the work all the time, right, Stu? I mean, it's just
Right.
But if not doing the work is also a choice.
Well, that's a pretty good point too. All right, you're gonna make a choice no matter what, right? So we're encouraging you to make a greater one. Make one that'll move the needle for you and for the world. So there it is. Your ongoing mission. Should you choose to accept it, right? And again, we play around with this. It's fun stuff.
It's
Blowing my mind to go backwards.
I know. I feel like we're at the end already.
This was the shortest episode ever.
What happened?
Yeah. So we're gonna play this, but just get you in the mood out there, gang. Okay, get you pumped up a little bit, get you moving. But the big thing to remember, in my opinion, about this mission and these 5 points that we've come up with that we're going to talk about, it's not a checklist. It's not okay. I'm doing 1. I'm doing 2. I'm doing 3. Okay, it's done. Let's move on to the next thing. Right? It's a playlist, in my opinion. Right? So you're going to just play this. It's your playlist. You're going to use these things as you need them and as you want to press into them as you're going rogue.
Could it be not just a playlist, but it be your constant prayer?
Oh, I like that.
Another way to look at it. I like that.
Well, that brings up a whole nother way to look at it. I think that if it's your prayer, you almost start with an intention that considers it already done. You just gotta.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I know.
In the mind of the one, it is already done.
That's right. So it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I think we'll talk about that sometime. But so, what do you think? There it is. We're gonna press in.
Well, let's go ahead and get started
Let's do it.
with the first one.
Yeah.
Which is deciding to go rogue. Yep. And to me, this is being open-minded. And so why would you do that, right? Like, why would you be open-minded? Well, so that you can think differently, right? I mean, it seems like a simple concept, but but it's true. But before you can do this, or not even, I shouldn't even say before you can do this, you just have to be aware of your own confidence level. Like who you have to know. It'd be better for you to know who you are first.
Yeah. Right.
Before just totally going rogue. Because if you go rogue, you may not know who you are. That could be confusing, I would think, for people.
Well, things could go wrong. If you don't know who you are, it's just like throwing caution to the wind. No, there's a groundedness that's important to trying something new.
Well, you don't have any credibility at that point. You can definitely harm yourself, maybe not physically or mentally or emotionally. I think that you have to then move yourself to your inside edge. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit.
Could it be that going rogue begins with a journey of a relationship with yourself, knowing yourself inside and out? It starts, before the hero goes on the journey, the hero has to get in touch with who they are on the inside, the warrior on the inside. I've got to get in touch with who I really am, I was created as, and what I can be before I ever take that step. Yeah. That means that's the bank account I talk about. Right. You have regular visits with your divine self, not just God, but God doing your business divinity at the point of you.
Yeah.
Then your roguishness is just following the leading of God and not just willy-nilly throwing caution to the wind.
Actually got it on the agenda to do a 2-part series, very, very much along those lines, Rev, that we're going to talk about how it flows through you, how the divine that you already have, it will flow through you into the world, and we're gonna do a 2-part.
See, when you know
episode.
yourself, when you have a relationship with yourself, you can make a very conscious decision that you're willing to give the world more of you, because you're confident and comfortable in your own skin.
Right.
And then you let yourself be seen. You allow yourself, here world, here I am, I'm here to be seen. And I'm not ashamed and I'm not apologizing for who I am, because I'm so confident in my God self, my spiritual self.
Right. Yeah.
You guys do that. You guys are good at that.
Well, thank you.
Follow your
I
example.
think we all do it. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't all do it, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what is rogue? Maybe, what does that mean? Maybe we need to even just back up just a little bit and say, well, going rogue
against the grain, not what people expect or what you even might expect or what the world might expect. I mean, it's doing something different. And we're taking the word rogue into the positive realm.
Right. Well, that's what I want to kind of make that distinction here.
That's how we're looking at it. This is what we do.
For me, the mindset of going rogue has to be a benefit to more than just me.
Yeah.
It's not anybody getting hurt. It's not tearing anything down. It's about making the world a better place.
Absolutely.
And that means getting out of the old habits, all the old patterns, and confronting my old wounds, relationship with my wounds, a relationship with my strength, so that I can make the world a better place.
Yeah. Well, it's that whole idea that you're going off the reservation. You're going off your comfort reservation, okay? Because it's going to take that, or it's going to be same old, same old. We are going to talk about that as well.
Not only your own, but your family's reservation, the cultural norms that maybe are not serving the world anymore. You got to confront them.
Right. Well, Stu's got the merch on tonight.
I do. I'm going rogue on my hat.
So just be proud of it, man. Just, be proud, but don't be arrogant.
Yeah.
But be proud, because guess what? When you start to exhibit this and you press in, you send out that energy, you're going to attract people to you. They're going to want some of what you got. And I mean, you get to go on this mission. We're going to talk about that.
That sounds like an incredible segue. You just laid it out to me on a silver platter there. So the next thing is to go find like-minded roguers.
didn't I?
Or just be available for them to find you.
Yeah.
Vibration seeks its own. Water seeks its own level. And I think we talk a lot about the tribe of 5.
Yeah.
When you are vibrating at a certain level of being, you are naturally going to magnetize and attract people to you. But how much more powerful if they're looking for you and you're looking for them, boy, you can create a team.
Wait, that's a coincidence.
A coincidence?
Yeah. No, we don't believe in that word.
It's a divine appointment. People, go find people who are thinking the way you want to think, living the way you want to live, and being the way you want to be. Yeah. Be proactive about changing your world. Don't sit around and wait for them to come to you. Meet in the middle.
Right.
They are out there. Right.
Yes,
have you ever been like in a seminar or some big group? Let's say there's a lot of people in it, right? And you have a question and you don't want to ask it. Like you're afraid to ask it, right? And then you get the courage up and you ask the question. Mm-hmm. And about 10 other people are like, oh my gosh, I had that same question, or however many, that's your tribe right there. There they are, right? They are. And if you had never taken action and spoken up, and, and just had that courage to just take that step forward in the face of your fear, you might not have found them. So that's another way you can find your tribe of 5. Yeah.
The world is waiting for us to channel our heroic being, our heroic essence, to ask the question, to take the first step. And they will be there to follow you and say, thank God you had the guts to do it, because I haven't. Well, it gives permission to other people to be more of themselves.
And you are affirming them, which is really cool. So here's an example of this very same thing on Sunday, right? Which is yesterday, because we're doing this on Mondays this week. And so the Rev is up there, and he said, you know what? You need to start asking the questions. You need to start asking, different questions. Is what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. And then he put it out there to all of us, and he said, so when you do that, what happens? Remember, you said that, right? And some of the people said, well, you get you get different answers, right? And that was one of them. Well, I was sitting kind of in the back, and I said, "You get more questions."
Bing.
Okay.
Give the guy a lollipop. You got the right answer I was looking for.
And so the guy sitting in front of me, though, there's this guy sitting in front of me. He turns around and he goes, "Who said that?" Okay. And I said, "That was me." He goes, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're exactly right." He was just laughing with me.
Of course it was Mac that said that. Of course.
So it was pretty fun. So there it is.
Now, are
awesome.
you always going to find people that resonate with you? Or are you going to find people that are like, "Oh, I want to argue with you.
There's
I want to
dissonance.
put you down. I want to step down." You got to be prepared.
Yep, you do.
Is that a good silver platter for the next one?
Well,
Maybe so.
Together's better. I mean, we say that all the time, okay? And we've just been talking about it, but I'll highlight it once again. The Rev was saying, I'll just put in a little bit different words. You need to go have the conversations because it's really difficult to find these people if they don't have, they're not going to just come and knock on your front door and sit down in your living room, all right? They're going to listen to you, like the guy in church.
You know what the most courageous part of this is, though? You become like the people you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
And if you look around and the people are not behaving or speaking or acting the way you want to be, you may have to cut your losses. And so going rogue and finding like-minded roguers may mean having to move to a new environment,
that's
to a new
painful
group, a new experience, and then creating the new experience. And you may have to have some grief involved in this. Being the rogue may involve some grief, and that's okay.
I hear you.
That takes guts.
Well, that's a good lead in here.
Yeah,
to the
right.
next one,
right. So far we've decided to go rogue. We found our like-minded roguers.
Yes, we have.
And now we're going to strap on the armor. So what does that look? We know what that looks like in battle.
Right.
It's like physical armor that protects your body, that kind of a thing. But this to us is more about protecting your mind, your thoughts, maybe even your heart, guarding it. And not that you don't take chances, but still there's got to be some guardrails that are set up in your life, And if you think about a guardrail, right? It's like when you're on the highway, there's a guardrail up, right? It's not in the danger, right? The guardrail.
Right.
It's before you reach the danger.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about with these guardrails you set up in your life, which could be part of your armor. You set it up, and whatever that is, you adhere to it, and it helps you not to end up in the danger zone.
You know what my guardrails are is my moral compass, my standards of integrity, my non-negotiables in my life. If I keep true and in relationship with those things, you can call them God if you will, I'm going to be held safe. They will be my guardrails because my connection to God will keep me safe from any danger. If God is for you, nothing can be against you.
Right.
And so that moral compass
stuff.
and my standards of integrity keep me on the straight and narrow.
Well, sometimes you want to just discount this one item altogether, And again, if we're not careful, as we lean in, as we go to our inside edge, as we push our own boundaries, we can't be so, number one, arrogant or naive to think that there isn't going to be struggle. We've talked about that. There isn't going to be challenge. There isn't going to be things that you're going to fail at. There isn't going to be things that you're going to have to overcome. That you're going to, that's all part of this deal. And you do need to protect yourself, not from other people per se, but from the influence of them, because it's going to hurt. And that's okay to be vulnerable. That's all part of this. Vulnerability is part of this whole thing. But at the same time, do the work ahead of time so that you can maintain poise. Again, Rev said it, integrity. And you've got to do these things. I love the example that you gave. Examples of guardrails, examples of how we stay focused, we stay grounded, we meditate, we meet with others, we get encouragement, we have accountability. These are all parts of protecting you from yourself almost.
Right.
From going off.
Well, I
the
think
road.
that's got to be from yourself. I look at the master teacher. He said, make your yes, your no, your no, and don't wiggle on that.
Right.
Be clear about what it is yours to do and what is not yours to do. And if you can keep your eye single, an eye on the ball, or at the end of the tunnel, the light, you will be safe and protected. It's when we get distracted, the human mind, squirrel, that we lose track of our purpose, where we get in trouble. We're storming the gates. Which is our next point.
Yeah.
But we don't know where we're storming. And could it be that the gates that we're storming are internal? You put it out there. Do I have to put armor against my human ego?
Well,
Do I have to
exactly.
put armor on to keep from being pulled off course, right, left, every single
Yes.
moment of the day, every breath?
Yes.
So what are the gates that we are storming?
Well, let's take a little. We're going to do call to action first. Okay?
All right.
Yeah, we got to. Let's back up a little bit. And
I'm just so ready to storm the gates.
He's excited. He's storming already. I love that though. He's ready to go. That's why I love this guy. Okay, you can't hardly keep him down. So, all right. So there's so much more we could talk about in each one of these things. And we talk about them all the time, the three of us. So we'd love to hear if you're going to engage in any of this stuff, how you're kicking it around and what kind of conversations you're having with your friends and your folks, okay? Because this is a pretty cool journey. This is a pretty good mission, right, to go on. So with that, we're going to finish out with our other few points. But we're going to take a break first. We're going to just take an exhale here and then let you have a little bit of a stimulation there. We're going to do a little promo maybe, what the heck, and then we'll be back real quickly. Take care.
Like what you hear so far? Join us in the Rogue Nation by going to our website, gorogue.life, where you will find links to our social media and podcast channels and a way to subscribe to all our happenings. We encourage you to become a member of our cafe, where you can interact with us and fellow roguers and keep the conversation going. Please share us and like us. Now, let's get back to our Wise Guys.
All right. Welcome back to the Wise Guys, where this episode, we are going through our sort of Mission Impossible 5 points that we talk about every week at the end of our episodes, but we're really fleshing them out a little bit more. It's been really fun to this point, and sort of during the break here, we were kicking around a little bit more of this strap on the armor, and the Rev brought up a really good, again, internal protection against almost yourself, but the dragon. Right?
What if the dragon that you need to be aware of, I don't want to say afraid of, is within you more than it is external?
Right.
And I think a lot of people are so worried about I like to carry a consciousness that nobody and nothing is against me. And I find that consciousness, that vibration is vanquishing the enemies on the outside. But boy, do I have to confront the enemies on the inside. What's the old cartoon that said we've met the enemy and it is us?
And it is us.
So true.
I've told the story before about my journey where I absolutely just was in a rock bottom place a few years back. And my cousin told me about the hero's journey. And there's this documentary out there called Finding Joe. And, in that whole journey there, as I was watching it, at the very kind of toward the end, they were fighting. And then each of them, unmasked, and it was the same person. It was the dragon and it was the knight, and it was the same
fighting himself.
That's right.
Yeah,
it was the same person.
That's good. Yeah.
And that really did something for me in that time. That just like the Rev was talking about, that you really have to look upon, and you don't fight it. You say it's me. It's me in my entirety. I got to quit putting out the negative energy, trying to battle it, and just embrace it and do my best to incorporate it and do a little bit better. So
it's interesting because when I see and hear people being judgmental and they're talking about somebody else, like they may say something to me about another person, right? What they don't realize they're doing is they're actually seeing in that other person what is true inside themselves.
Yeah, of course.
If you spot it, you've got it. I've said this before, the good and the not so good.
So
I love the people that say, I just hate judgmental people.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're one of them.
Oh, all right. So,
Well, but it's really interesting to pay attention to that. And now that I've said it, anybody that's heard this, when they hear somebody doing this, they're going to see exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're going to hear what I'm talking about. I mean,
Sure.
it's so this is part of what helps you to get that, do the work you need to do to be able to go through these points we're talking about, right?
yeah, exactly. You got to know your truth. I mean, you really do. Rev's mentioned that already, that you got to get grounded in what you truly believe and what's true and what's righteous and what's right. And you know what? Here's the other thing about that. We talked about that. And just do one thing. I think I did a meme one time that I said, the truth is the truth until it's not. I mean, for all of us, we need to hold it semi-loosely so that now you may drop a stake in the ground and your truth may be your whole life. And that serves you well and it is what it is and it never changes.
Right.
But there's other things in your life that, you might hold true 5 years ago or 10 years ago or even yesterday. That over time, as long as you're doing your work and your consciousness is being raised, you're going to go, you know what, that served me then, but not anymore.
So that consciousness then is, when we say storm the gates, the gates is not about necessarily tearing something. It's an awareness, an epiphany, and a revelation that what I've been thinking no longer serves me.
Right.
So am I storming the gates of my limitation? The limitations that I have accepted. Am I storming the gates of my own fears, my apathy, my doubt, and my fear? And I wrote this, storming the gates of old stories and habits that need to be banished from the kingdom of my consciousness and my experience.
Whoa,
Yeah, that's
replay
good.
that.
I need to banish the thinking from my kingdom.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, replay that, gang. Okay, there it is. Oh, I
Storm
love
the
that,
gates
man.
of any fortress you've built around your heart that's keeping you imprisoned.
Oh, wow, that's good. Yeah, that's really good.
It's not easy. Let
Everybody-
me tell you, it's good to say, but man, some
Well-
days it's hard to do.
But let me tell you, everybody has this.
Yes.
No one is going to escape this.
No, you're
But
right.
being able to get beyond, to storm that gate, to get beyond it, is just acknowledging or recognizing what it
True.
is.
Very true.
And that's your
Right.
strength. You acknowledge it takes courage and bravery and guts and strength, and it's not weak. And the world has told you that's weakness to be that humble and to make apology for something that you did. That's a good, holy thing.
Again, I have to make the point that everyone is courageous. It doesn't mean that you don't have fear. It just means that you take that step forward
Yep.
in the
Overcome
fear.
it. Yeah.
That's being courageous.
I
Everybody can and is doing this.
Yes.
I sing this song sometimes. I feel the fear and do it anyway. I feel the fear and do it anyway.
Here we go.
Sing it, Rev.
We're gonna have
Sing it, Rev.
Are we gonna do a musical episode sometime? Like sometimes TV
WizeGuys,
shows.
the musical.
Sometimes TV shows will have an episode that's all musical. We need to do one of those.
We got to get Natalie in on that.
That would be amazing.
We got to get the first Mystic Sorceress in on that deal if we do that.
Storm the
You mean
gates,
get
the
someone that
musical.
can actually sing? The Rev can sing, but I don't know about Mac and Stu.
I'm
We'll
going to
have to
mouth
see.
it, okay? Yeah.
We're gonna be the
I'm
rappers.
going to lip sync it, Well, here's what came to my mind when we were talking about storming the gates, too, this whole conversation. A lot of times when you have these internal gates that you have to storm, like we've just been talking about, guess what? They're not even locked, okay?
Right. Right.
They're not. I mean, all you got to do is just you don't even have to necessarily storm them. Just open them up, okay? We get bound and we get confined, and because of the stories we tell ourselves.
Check this out.
Right?
Mac and Rev.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes these gates are mirages.
They don't even exist.
That'll preach, brother.
Ooh. Man, Stu, that was like, I got to ponder that for a second,
Is it
man.
sometimes they're mirages, or are they always?
It could always be, but
It's an illusion.
That's what this is stories we tell ourselves. They're not really even real, right? Oh, wow. So, okay, he just rocked my world. All right there. Thank you for that, Coach.
Change your story, change your life. Change your mirage, change your
we need to
life.
get mirage into a meme.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good word to be in a meme.
Well, as we're storming the gates, we're going to use this analogy. When you do the things that we were just talking about, that we've just been kicking around right here, then guess what ripple effect that has? People begin, Stu will say this all the time, everybody's watching. Everybody's just like always watching, okay? And now you begin to put on an energy, a poise, a confidence, a spirituality. You dispel, you dissolve a lot of these things that people gravitate and they sink into, like apathy and fear. These things, you don't even have to have a therapy session with them.
They're paying attention, and you may never even meet these people, but they're looking at you, and they're watching. They go, "I want what Mac is having. I want what the coach is doing. I want a piece of that."
Yes.
You know what's interesting about this concept, people watching, is, sometimes I've heard people say, okay, what would you do if your mom was right here watching you? Like right now, would you act this way or say these things? Right? So, I mean, sometimes, it's kind of like you want to do better, like you want to do life better if you think somebody is watching you. So here's the wise guy wisdom.
Are you watching me? Uh-oh.
To do better when nobody is watching.
Yep.
Right?
That's the being thing. You just are.
That's integrity. Gandhi had some quote about that. How you behave when you think nobody's looking.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, that's integrity. Ooh. That's the guardrail.
Right. Well, yes. And the other thing I think you do is you take action. This is what we're talking about. And one other thought about the guardrail. I was thinking when we were talking about that, because we've talked about guardrails for years. I love the way you said that you put the guardrail right there at the edge of, the danger.
Right.
But if you're on the road, there's also this area between the road and the guardrail. Mm-hmm. All right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Okay.
You've been in that area, Rev.
I plead the fifth.
So, that's really, really cool. I wasn't even going there. But there's this, here I am in the lane, and things are going well, and it sounds good, and the wheels are rolling, and I'm on track. But I start to get a little bit off course, and I get a warning. Bump, bump, bump. It's not even a guardrail yet. It's not the yet. Warning sign. Thump, 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 like you were talking about.
Warning signal. That.
Yep. And so we have these things in our life that if we're paying attention to them, and if we put these things in place, and if we enlist the help of others, we got a lot of bandwidth here before the literal wheels come off.
Yeah. So those guardrails, could it be your mom on the left and your dad on the right, and they're letting you get just far enough into danger for you to learn a lesson, but you're going to be safe. I'm going to call those guardrails God. God is not going to interfere with your process, but you're going to be held through it all, and it's going to get bumpy, it's going to get difficult, but you're going to be held safe.
I love that.
Yeah, I like it.
Did you ask the rhetorical question? Yes. I'm going to say yes. Okay. Very cool. I love it. So, all right. So we decided to go rogue. We find our like-minded roguers. We strap on the armor. What a great conversation that was. We're storming the gates, and golly, internal and external. I mean, we're just coming up with all sorts of. I hope you guys are picking up on these little wisdom nuggets, because I am, because I hadn't thought through all this kind of stuff. And so if that's part of your process, and if you're going through this, that at some point in the process, guess what? You will unleash the unthinkable.
Release the Kraken.
That's it. You've just unfettered. Boom. Right? It just, launched into space. What is that? Fire all of your guns at once and explode into space. Mm-hmm. You're going to, and what it is, it's unthinkable to you.
Yes.
Because you've gone through all of this and you've lived it and you've struggled with it and blah, blah, if you've done those 4 things. And here's the other thing to remember. All right. We said this wasn't a checklist, right? It's a morphing. It's a process. It's a little bit of 1 and some of 4, and you're going over here and you don't move through A and then you go to B and then you go to C. Okay, that's right. It's not linear, all right? So all along the way, you will begin to unleash unthinkable things, starting with you. You're going to start thinking differently. You're going to start having a different perspective. Mm-hmm. You're going to shake your head, and you're going to go, "What the hell am I doing here? I mean, I don't know what I did. What, And then there's going to be the things that you affect out there that you're going to unleash unbelievable, unthinkable things in others as you just proclaim your new truths or whatever. Isn't it? I mean, it's a process. It's beautiful.
You'll inspire people.
Yes, you will. Plus, you'll piss some people off. Okay, that's part of it too,
Both.
right?
But those are both types of inspiration.
It's all change. It's all change.
It's all change.
It's Einstein who said that you cannot solve a problem from the same level of thinking that got you to the place where you are currently at. You can't create the miracle. You can't create the news story. You can't change your life from the same thinking that got you to where you are. Be grateful. I got here with this thinking. Now I need to set it down.
Yeah.
So that I can become more. I can express more, do more, change more, be more positive, be a more positive effect on the world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to set the boat down that got me across the river because now I don't need the boat anymore.
Yeah, thank you, but thank you. Okay. But I'm moving.
I'm not even but, thank you, and I'm building on it. I'm not
that's
in
good.
contrary
I like
to
that
it.
better. Okay. Well, what was the meme that you had kind of stimulated to me on? It was like something like, God, the truth will set you free, but it's guaranteed to piss you off.
Yeah, right.
Something like that,
It's
right?
going to piss you off first. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the way
Sometimes
life
the
works.
truth is a very bitter pill to swallow.
Oh, it's like,
love
oh man, that's one of those moments where it's like, I don't want to know this, but now I know it, and I can't unknow it now, and
what is
now
it?
I've got to deal with that.
A mind once stretched can never return to its original shape.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay, now I know what I know. I can't go back to living the old way.
But there was this very specific, poignant moment in our history, Stu. I don't even know what we were talking about. I can't
don't
even remember.
either. Yeah.
Okay, but it was in those times. It was in those years where his mind was like ready to explode. Over everything we were talking about. And I will just never forget this. You just going, no, I can't unknow that. I can't. But it was real. I mean, it wasn't like, it was beautiful. Okay, so unleashing the unthinkable. What other kind of things does it take? It takes courage.
Oh yeah.
Right? We've already kind of hit on that a little bit, right? But you're going to have to be courageous as you do the different. Do the different. Oh, that might be part of a meme too.
Do the different.
Right?
Do the do.
Yeah.
And I'll have to say, every one of these, it's not linear, but it is circular. So we're going around like a marble around a circle, experiencing any one of these ideas or points at any given point, and it's going to require us to suspend who we have been to become who we're going to be. And it's going to involve fear. Plain and simple. It's uncomfortable, as we always talk about. You got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You got to be okay with crawling out of your skin, out of your life, and to just go, okay, I don't know what the mystery holds here, but I'm willing to explore.
Right.
Absolutely. And as you do that, if you want to have poise, if you want to have credibility, I'll call it, as you're just, if you're doing this, you need to have what I'll call as an apologetic. I mean, you need to be able to articulate as well as emulate. That your energy is going to just be natural. It's just going to go out there. But at the same time, your journey is your journey. Your story is your story, as beautiful as it is. And you're going to be more, quote, effective, both for yourself, the stories you tell yourself, as well as the stories that you will tell others about your journey. That's important too, that you think through that you're able to articulate it, that you're able to, to be exciting and lean in and have people interested, in what's going on with you. So as you're unleashing this unthinkable stuff for them, help them start to think about it easier.
And I want to encourage people to not wait for that to be perfect before you start. You got to start practicing it right away. It'll mold itself. It's kind of like if you've ever written anything. I'm not saying a book, but anything you've written, like, you write it, you sit on it, you maybe make some changes. Like you got to keep in action. You got to keep doing it, practicing it, and it'll transform into who you are. I mean, this is what's happened for me over the years. I mean,
Did one of you guys say this? I've heard this. Perfect is the enemy of better. If you're striving for perfection, you're just paralyzed. You never take an action. Just do more than zero, as we talked about. Just a little bit better. That's good enough for today. Do it your pace.
I like it.
Well, and then, and the expectation, we talk about this all the time too, that get away from the expectation of an absolute, all right? It's not about absolute, the minute you're, just like Stu, this all goes in here, that the minute you want absoluteness in any outcome,
Right.
we talk about this about just seek the greatest degree of clarity that you can come up with, and then get off the damn dime. Okay.
So
move it, man.
Coach Stu here again.
Yeah. Okay,
Stu.
Coach.
So here, let me tell you what I talk to my parents about. I get this question all the time. New wrestler. It's like, okay, when are they ready to compete? I'm like, now. They're like, well, they've only been to a few practices. I'm like, I know.
No.
And the only way we're going to learn is for them to get into action, like to start just doing it. And then they'll realize, oh, this is what competition feels like. And like that other wrestler really wants to beat me. And they know what that feels like now, and they can make, so then it helps them in their growth. So it's the same thing with all of this.
That. Yeah.
You just have to start now. Like, why? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, don't wait.
No, don't.
Get in the game, man. Get in the game, says the coach.
And fail and fall and become
Yes,
because
that's how you learn.
Failed.
Yeah.
That's how you learn and
then
grow.
have victory moments. I mean, it's all, those are good too. So again, in this journey, in this story, in this unleashing the unthinkable, all right, keep it. Here's my advice, because I had to learn this. It wasn't always the way I was, right? Less information. Less, not zero. More than zero information, because you got to give people information, whether in the journey. But stress, 80-20 rule?
Yeah.
That's 20. The information is like 20%. The 80% is inspiration.
Ah, yes.
Right? That your story will inspire
Like that.
others, because we're full of information. We can go all sorts of places and get information, all right? But boy, people are going to really be affected and changed by you and your life if you can inspire them.
Don't do it just for yourself. Somebody is waiting for you to be the first person to raise your hand and ask the question.
Exactly.
Somebody is waiting for you to storm the gate and to be vulnerable enough. And they're like, thank God you showed up. You are the savior. You are the hero. You are the person I needed to stretch myself.
Yes.
Somebody needs you.
Well, I agree with that for sure, It's been great, guys. I love it. What do you think? Any closing thoughts? Anything?
Wow, normally this is what we talk about at the end.
I know. We just did it. So I'm just going to get into the vibe of this thing.
You could read the words backwards and see what happens.
It's not linear, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going in a circle. So enjoyed tonight. This was great. This was great.
You could do this. You could go backwards. I was just reading it backwards. You could do that.
You could, couldn't you?
That would be amazing.
Rogue, go to decide. Roger's minded like find. I sound like Tarzan.
I don't mean like that.
Start at the end and work your way back.
Unleash the unthinkable.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we're having our thinkable, possible, impossible mission here this week, everybody. So we've had a lot of fun with it, guys, as always, man. I learned from each one of you every single week.
Same to you, but more of it, brother.
Thank you. Okay, thank you both. Hey, thank you for listening to us. Again, we always hope that you've come away from this conversation just like we do with each other, and you learn from us, take some away. We'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Like us, share us, engage with us, and come back. Come back next week where we're going to do it one more time and be on mission.
Yes.
Thanks a bunch, gang. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Wow, you made it and can now unbuckle. Thanks for listening to Storming the Gates of Your Mind, Going Rogue. A conversation that encouraged you to go on a mission in the new year to go to your inside edge, change your thinking, and see things differently. Remember to visit the website at gorogue.life for lots of follow-up information. See the show notes for any links to episode content, and check out the Seeing Differently blog. Oh, and of course, tell everyone you know about us and like, follow, and engage. Be sure to tune in next week when Mac unleashes another unthinkable conversation. That is, if you dare.